I feel very accomplished. I feel that if for whatever reason I this is the end for me, I've accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish and more. I think it's all about legacy. I think it's like will your will your project or your items that you started will they be continued? Will they will people look back and be like, oh wow, look what he did. Let's try to do the same thing. Something that you leave behind, legacy. So I think I did well, but now we enhancing it.
Very sharp, very sharp.
One.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jesse, and welcome to the Jess Takes a Village podcast, where we focus on regular people who have used their education, whether it be formal, vocational, or even life experiences, to propel their lives in a positive direction. Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's been a while. Happy New Year. I've been taking a break working with the kids. The kids are learning. The family's good. But ladies and gentlemen, to my left, as the first episode of 2026, I have an engineer, a family man, a Caribbean man, a working man, an educational man. We have running for the next House of Representatives congressional seat, Felipe Garcia.
Thank you.
Now, for those who don't know, a lot of the guests on the show, I've known them for years. Absolutely. It's been 10, 15, 20 years. Felipe, I just met maybe 2 to 3 years ago, but we all know the same people. So without saying too much in the beginning, when I had originally met Felipe and I shook his hand, I said, "Hey Felipe, what do you do for a living?" And the first thing he told me was, "Man, I do so much things I can't even call it." So before we give the people like automatic insertion on what you do for life, how are you feeling today?
Feeling great, feeling blessed, feeling happy. It's a great introduction.
I thank you. I try what I can. It's makeshift.
Didn't know this is the first one too.
Yeah,
So
this is the first one
I'm
for the year.
lucky.
Took a little break, but I was adamant about having you sit here in this seat, not to show any bias, but I felt like your message was extremely important. Not just because we come from the same place, we come from the same neighborhoods, but I feel as if representation is always key. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So tell the world, what exactly do you do for a living?
So what do I do for a living? Well, right now
Yeah.
I'm full-time campaigning for the House of Representatives, U.S. Congress, District 14, representing the Bronx and Queens. So I'm very excited. It was
Shout out
something.
the Bronx.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was something that I planned since November 2021, actually. But little by little, I was building the pieces and putting everything together. My last job, May 2025, I was the director of energy management and engineering for the Mount Sinai Health System.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I had basically all six campuses, over 10 million square feet. I was in charge of specifically the energy management portion, like the utility bills, the consumption. I was very fortunate to be part of in a good way, in a positive way, the
Right.
closure of Mount Sinai Beth Israel. So it's something different because I had to develop the budget, the utilities, the consumption of an empty hospital. And you would think, oh, turn everything off, and it should be very cheap,
And cost
very
efficient.
yeah. But
Yeah.
no, because you want to keep the integrity of the building, of the equipment, because it's going to be sold and stuff. And so that was unique. That was great. That was during my time. And then a little bit more before that, how I got there, I'm just going to fast forward real fast back.
Take your time.
Was a security officer in Mount Sinai. So
wow.
I started as a security officer in Mount Sinai, and that was about 12 years, no, wait, 15 years ago. Yeah, like about 15 years ago. And I ended my career there as assistant director.
So from security guard to systems director. So
yeah.
for all the kids watching, because I know you guys are watching, shout out the kids in my class.
Hey.
Anything is possible. It doesn't matter where you start. It's how far you push yourself up. So if you start off as a security officer and you end up as a systems manager, that's growth in the field. And there's nothing wrong with working. And this is another thing we tend to like push on a podcast. There's nothing wrong with going to school, getting a job, and taking care of your family. But as long as you try your best to grow.
Yep.
Now, as you were speaking, one of the first words that stood out to me was you said you wanted to keep the integrity of the building. Now, outside of the building, what does integrity mean to you directly as a person?
No, integrity, it should mean everything for its exact word, right? So your word is your bond to people. Like when you speak and you tell people, "Oh, yes, I'm going to do that," you make sure you do that because it's not the task that has to get done and then you do it eventually. Oh, but I did do it. I did clean my room, mom, or this and that. Eventually, no, it's like make sure you do it right there and then because then they're gonna know the next time when you ask for something. Okay, no, we could trust him. We don't need to like do oversight or supervise. I trust Felipe. I trust Jesse. So yeah, it's your word. It's your bond, and and it's your brand too. I want to say it's your brand
There we go.
because when you grow, as you grow, especially the younger you are, you want to build that brand that's saying, okay, no, that's my go-to guy. Even though every, other people around you might not believe in you, but then you got that one senior person like, no, no, I want Felipe. No, no, I want Jesse. So it's a brand that you're building
And
from
isn't
very early
and isn't
age.
that so isn't that so peculiar, right? Something as little, but something also as big as giving your word and making a promise allows you to be held to a different standard.
Uh huh. Oh
Because
yeah.
if you're accustomed to breaking these promises,
Mm.
nobody's gonna hold you in high regard,
Mm-mm.
right? So you have integrity.
And they won't tell you.
You mentioned trust, very good. You mentioned standards. Now, a lot of the times when people speak, especially in psychology, a lot of the words that they tend to use, it kind of reiterates who they are as people
Yep.
on the inside.
Yep.
So I'm hearing integrity, I'm hearing standard, I'm hearing brand, and I'm hearing trust.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these four virtues that you have, how long have you been walking with them in life?
I would like to say I was born with them, right? So I am the person that I am right now because of my parents and my upbringing, and from a young age, from an early age, it's you don't want to let your parents down. So then now you're building that brand, like I said, of yourself that you could trust me. And there'll be bumps in the road, but
Definitely.
then the way how you pick up on it and you pick up from your like how you failed or didn't live up to the expectation is also part of your brand, right? So
Right.
how quickly you get back on the horse and move forward. So I think I was born with it. I would say that would be my answer. And
Okay.
since
So
that,
it's innate.
yeah,
It's something that was you already had that
and
you
then now
feel
you want to enhance it and perfect it and be better today than what you were tomorrow.
tomorrow
Yeah,
perfecting the
from yesterday.
craft.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's essential. So you mentioned parents. Where are you from?
So I am Puerto Rican Dominican.
Okay.
Born and raised in the
We're
Bronx,
at in the Bronx.
Hunts Point,
Hunts Point,
Southern
stand up.
Boulevard, and Longwood. So that's it right there.
What was that like for you growing up in the Bronx?
Uh, I didn't have anything to compare it to, and I lived a great life.
Right.
I grew up in a private house with my
Okay.
parents. They worked hard. They've been together for 37 years now. I'm
Congratulations. Mine's too.
36.
Mine's got
Yeah, yeah.
38.
That's
Yeah.
that's very important too. I know we will talk about that.
Yeah, definitely.
And they just made sure that nothing lacked in me. Grew up, went to uh, Catholic school, elementary school, St. John
Okay.
Chrysostom, St. Thomas Aquinas. Went to Mount St. Michael Academy, Cardinal Hayes High School.
Cardinal Hayes. That's a famous high
Yeah,
school in
yeah,
the
yeah,
Bronx. Yeah.
yeah. So it's unfortunately St. Thomas Aquinas, the elementary school that closed down. So I was a
Oh
little hurt,
man.
but like you are who you surround yourself to.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly. So it was great upbringing. Uh, I, I won't change anything from it at all.
That's
I
wholesome.
love the Bronx. You
Yeah.
get to see the good. You get to see the challenges. There's everything in between. You want to see something very fancy. You want to see something that needs work on. You have everything in the Bronx.
So when you mentioned the whole parents and you never lack in. As a kid, what was some of like your dreams and like aspirations in life? What did little Felipe? I made you sound like a rapper. What did little Felipe
Little
want to do
Philip.
as like as a kid? Like, what did you want to be like from a kid like, as an adult? Like, what
Yeah,
was
so
like your
I
dream job?
always uh, I'm a Batman fan, so
Okay,
I always had the utility belt, and then that kind of associated to like law enforcement. So
okay,
I said, I was leaning more towards that, but I always like to build as well. So I had blocks, and I'll build a little house, or then I'll
yeah,
do something different. The Sims game came
yeah.
out
I
during
remember
that
The
time,
Sims. Yeah,
so I
you got a
just
whole family.
oh man, it was amazing. Like, and then I found a cheat code where I got infinite money, so I was
Yeah,
building neighborhoods.
yeah,
So it was between law enforcement and engineering, architecture. So that's how I went forward with it. In my eighth grade yearbook, I remember that I put I wanted to be an architect.
oh wow,
So that was funny. Yeah, so that was
wow,
nice. Ironically, um, there was a student that said that he wants to be a senator.
yeah,
And then I remember, no shots to my dad. I love my dad, right? He,
yeah.
he looked at the like, wow, Felipe, mira, senador. That's who he wants to be. I'm like, man, that sounds pretty tough. Like,
Yeah,
no,
it could be possible.
little did I know. And now, look,
Full
I
circle
am
moment.
going. Yeah. So I
Full
reminded
circle
him, and he
moment.
started laughing. So that's fine. So I would say, little Felipe, law enforcement, a cop, with an engineer, and he was in between. And when I get to my educational part, it's a good
Yeah,
story on
so I
that
hear
part.
like a lot of protecting and serving. I hear
Yeah,
a lot of community,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Giving back, building.
What,
Yeah, it was exactly that. Yeah,
what would you say is the importance? Because I know it always sounds like a general question. Why is giving back important?
yeah.
Why is giving back
Oh,
important?
yes,
But to you, like personalize it for me. Personalize it for like the people watching.
yeah.
Why would you say giving back to the community is vital? Why is it important to you?
The first quick answer that came to my head is because it's the right thing to do. It is
Absolutely.
like us as human beings. You want your surroundings to be as best and as great as it could be, and then you just you pay it forward. I came up with a beautiful family and a house, and I want all my friends to have a house, and because that's
Definitely.
how I looked at it, right? What I remember I'll be asking like, oh, like what's the challenge, like why, it's like, oh, my parents here. Okay, so then at a young age it's like, okay, so there's the parents, something with the parents. I think they need help,
Yeah.
but I don't have any solution, but that was my thought process. um
Figuring things out as you
yeah,
go
yeah,
along.
yeah. I'm here. My friends are here. I want to bring them up here, or my other friend is up here, and I'm here. How can I be up there? So there's always
Absolutely.
a scale of like trying to move as high up as you can, and I didn't realize that that's how I was thinking before.
Tough question.
Yeah.
Do you look at that as competition?
No, not at all.
Why
Right
not?
away, I don't look at that as competition, because you know I I always look at it as a challenge, a task. And I have a very cool line that I always say in
Let's
at
hear
the end
it.
of my speech is like, if it's been done, then why not you? If things have already been accomplished, oh, my sister's a doctor, that means I could be a doctor. Like someone else is in a position, or got a good car or something, a good house, then why not you? It's been done. We're not trying to figure out how to get a Mars. That's Elon, right?
Right, but let me play devil's advocate
Yeah.
for you. What if somebody responds, well, Felipe, I didn't have the same opportunity you had. I didn't have the two parents. I didn't have the house. I didn't have the support. I didn't have somebody pushing me in the right direction.
Hmm.
What's your response?
Well, I would say that you yourself are already pushing yourself in the right direction if you're asking that, right? So that means you're thinking of a solution to get there. So you're already in the right path. But then I would say don't look at that as restrictions or limitations, right? So find a way, because there clearly there is a way. So Felipe got it this way, he made it that way, but there's other ways. Not everyone that has like parents or like a house or something made it to where I'm at. There was other people. So look at their story.
Right.
They came from a worse condition than me, but they're in the same level. So it's more of a, okay, yeah, you're right. You didn't have what I personally have,
Right.
but the goal is still achievable.
It is.
It's not just one way.
You
My
hear that,
way.
guys? Felipe don't want to hear your excuses.
No,
He wants
no
you to get up
excuse.
and go to work.
No
He
excuses.
wants you to get up and go to
I have
work.
another. I have another great line.
Yeah.
Give zero. Give zero reasons for people to say no to you. So if you need to, for example, in my career as an engineer, I was a HVAC supervisor and then manager, and then I had obstacles. They're like, oh, Felipe doesn't have an engineering degree. Oh no, Felipe this. Oh, Felipe that. Whatever the case is. So I went and like acquired like all the certifications that I could possibly get
Right.
from the FDNY. I found a way to, be able to take the fundamentals of engineering exam, even though I didn't go to an engineering school, an ABET school. Um, I found a way. So it, as I got all those certification and stuff, now it is they can't say no to me because what do you need? Oh, I already have it. Oh, this you need that? Hold 1 second. Let me get that.
So you made sure your education was basically covered across the board.
Oh yes. Oh
And
yes.
that there's
Cover
something
all
to,
your bases.
I was just gonna say that there's something to be said about covering all of your bases in life, because I think that's the preparedness
Mhm.
of it. You want to make sure you're as secure as possible
Yep.
when you're moving on to the next level. And so many people, as they're transitioning from level to level, they kind of forget that
Yeah.
in limbo. They're like, whoa, how come I didn't get this?
Mm.
But then it's like when they look at your paperwork, it's like, well, we could have took him. He was great, but he doesn't have this cert.
Mhm.
And instead of paying for him to get it, we got somebody who already has it.
Oh,
You
you made
understand?
another good point. So
Yeah.
a lot of people, because I worked, like I said, I worked in the hospital. So the Mount Sinai employs like over 55,000 people, and I've
Sheesh.
seen from nurses to patient transport
Yeah.
to engineering and everything, right? And the biggest, and I'm gonna say excuse that they have is that either, oh, the union is going to pay for me, so I'm going to wait,
Right.
or I don't need that right now
Right.
because that's not what I need to get to where I want to get to.
Absolutely.
So I would say if it's something that will benefit you, go get it. I'm pretty sure your parents will invest in you if it's something that's going to give you a value, right?
And them.
And yeah,
And
of
them,
course,
because
yeah,
what's good for you is also good for the
course.
family too.
Of
There are a
course.
lot of children who broke these generational curses by
Mhm.
applying your advice without even knowing you.
Yeah.
They didn't want to make excuses. They kept the integrity. They built themselves in the brand. They made sure they kept their hands clean
Mhm.
with other people. They made sure they lived up to their
It's
promises.
another good point. That keep your hands clean with other people. So I take that back. One time, and I'm guilty. Like burned a bridge. Like when I left a job, right?
Yeah.
And I think that one time when I burned the bridge, that's when I realized that wasn't good. Even though it's in that moment pointless or useless, like I'm never gonna see this guy again or anything like that. But it's not that action at that moment is your integrity, yourself, your brand. Is your brand the one that's just gonna like be negative or sour if you leave a job or something like that? So never burn a bridge. Always be respectful. Like in this case, like
That's so funny.
yeah, give the 2 weeks. When I left Sinai, I gave them. I wrote in my letter, 4 weeks, but I ended up like actually giving them almost 2 months after I submitted my letter of resignation. And people were saying like, "Felipe, what are you doing?" Like confused, like why am I? Do you want to leave? Do you not? No, it's because I want to make sure that when I leave, everything is set exactly with like smooth process, smooth transition, and not leaving them with the burden of like trying to fill a system director role where
That's very healthy of you to do.
yeah, and it's
That's
it's
very-
strong and it's strong too, right? Because it took a lot of fortitude to say, I'm doing this because I want to make sure that they're good, regardless of how they treated me or they thought of me or stuff like. Because no one is ever going to think 100% good of you. There's always going to be ups and downs, whatever the case is. But the only thing that will remain constant is how you think of yourself and how you brand yourself.
You should be sitting in this chair, not me.
No,
it's funny because I'm laughing to myself because here you are, a politician taking accountability for burning a bridge. How rare is that? You know, how rare is that?
Yeah.
Like, people in your field don't usually do that. People don't admit and say, hey, you know what? I burned the bridge.
Yeah.
I did this. 100% accountability. And not to speak for you, but to kind of make up for what you did, you said, you know what? Before I leave this place, let me at least make sure that by the time I leave, you guys are covered.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm hearing, and we're going to start from the beginning
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
we heard integrity, standard, brand, keeping your hands clean. And
Yeah.
now we're at a point where we're admitting to burning bridges and holding ourselves accountable
Yeah.
for our actions of the past. And as you know, the famous quote, the best apology is change behavior.
Mm.
So here we are, from systems director to running for this congressional seat
Yeah.
for the House of
Huge.
Representatives. Number one, if nobody has applauded you yet for even attempting this leap,
Oh yeah.
us at the platform, my parents upstairs, your campaign manager, we are, first and foremost, we are proud of you.
Thank you.
First and foremost, for what you're doing,
Yeah.
especially for people that look like us
Yeah.
and for people that come from our backgrounds. You're stepping into realms where the game is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just you're responsible for this life, this life, this life. You're responsible for districts.
Yeah.
You understand? You're responsible for lifestyles and
Yeah.
actions that's going to be, processed, within the next 4, 5, 6, 7 to 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
So one of my first questions about that is, how much pressure do you
Oh,
feel?
what a good question. Humongous.
I mean, you still have all your hair on
Enormous.
your head. You don't have the politician here
Yeah.
yet, but
Yeah. I'm glad I have the hair. Yeah. 36, right?
take the trip to Turkey. you know?
No, it's so much pressure, and wow, I have so much in my mind on that question. It's sometimes overwhelming. I do need to find like that ground, that item where it's like I will remind myself and tell myself, you're doing this because of this. You're doing this for this. Because it's very easy to crack under pressure
And lose your
and,
purpose
and,
along the way.
and lose your focus. And, you know, I was well trained in Mount Sinai, I
Yeah.
would say, because
Yeah.
I was very political over there too, but in a smaller scale. So
Right?
I remember just one quick example, just getting a certain promotion. It was big obstacles, but instead of me saying like, whoa, what about me? I was like, oh, okay, that's good. Like I got passed on a promotion, and I didn't get. Yeah, I was frustrated and mad and questioning. Oh, I'm going to quit. I'm going to do this. But then I said, okay, let me figure this out. And that built pressure, and I guess I learned to control it, at least to an extent. But now going into this political world, like I have people saying, "Oh, you're crazy." That's the machine. They have so much money, and you're not known. You're an engineer. You're not in politics. Starting council, starting assembly, and work your way up. And I'm like, no, I assessed it. I said, okay, here I could make the changes that I want, but then I'm restricted here, and then I found the balance. I said, U.S. Congress. I could have done U.S. Senator. Could have done president. Yeah, it's my American right, right? And
Definitely.
I said, U.S. Congress is the perfect position. And again, if it's been done before, then why not you? There's many congressmen and women out there that have acquired the seat, with less than what I've had.
Less political background.
Yeah,
But it's still that need to push for change
push for
in a special
change. Keep
place.
your focus, your goal, and your like my stance and my policies, what I want to implement. Keep it right there in front of you while you're doing it. And also, it just hit me right now. Like I realize that I acknowledge that I'm some form of role model to certain people.
Finally.
So
Welcome. Finally.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and how disappointed would I be with myself if I said, "Yeah, I'm going to do this." Like right now, I'm doing this podcast with you, and then all of a sudden, what happens if in 2 weeks I say, "Oh no, it was too hard." Wow, no. Like so now, even this is motivating me. I say like,
Definitely.
you better go all the way. You better do everything you could humanly possibly do
One thing I
to win.
appreciate And that was great sentiments, by the way. But one thing I can appreciate is just the level of openness. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
this it. I always tell people when you come and you sit down and you talk to me, this is no different than us talking at the bar.
yeah,
This is no different than us at a sporting event. It's no different than us, catching up after, not seeing each other in months. This is the conversations that need to be had. But it's something to say about people who actually want to put their foot on the ground and
yeah,
actually get involved with the day-to-day
yeah,
matters. You don't have the political background. So what?
yeah,
You understand? It kind of to me means that you can actually look at both sides of the fence instead of being extremely narrow-minded.
yeah,
Now, one of the first conversations we had, and I'll save the privacies for just us two, but the conversation was kind of centered around how do you feel about what's going on today in the world, the current
yeah.
political
Hmm.
climate, you know, international affairs and everything. And I never forget one response that you gave me that actually like it stuck out to me. You said, Jesse, there's so much going on right now. It's just like, wow. And it's just like, every day you turn on the news, this is happening, this is happening,
Yeah,
this is happening, this is happening. And I remember one of your rebuttals for me was, I try to just tackle one thing at a time.
yeah.
And that
Hmm.
level of patience, that level of being able to navigate through the political climate, what do you think that has afforded you right now in life?
Yeah, it's discipline. Just it comes with like just strict discipline, and
Yeah,
it's and you build on that. Like going to your point, like just tackle one thing at a time. I think it was Kevin O'Leary who talked about Steve Jobs
yeah,
about noise and there was another thing he described like noise and another word I forgot
yeah,
what it was, but he was like you like Steve Jobs was 80% like focus, 20% noise.
right,
Like Elon, he tasked him, he
yeah,
said he's like 100% focus, right? No
yeah,
noise. And the noise is, let's say you have a task for the day, you got 10 items, right? Pick the three, make sure you get that done,
perfect.
right? And then
Yeah,
that's the focus. And then everything else is like secondary, but eventually it's going to reach up to the third one. But if you just get the focus and eliminate the noise and just get those three things done in that one day or that time frame that you want, then little by little you're gonna chip away and you'll get things done. And it will be overwhelming sometimes. Like
right.
even today, we had a meeting with my team, and we're like, "Oh, we gotta do this, we gotta do this." And now I'm throwing all these, important stuff that needs to get done. I realized that like, okay, I need to organize this. So organization, being organized is huge. Being direct, not vague, even with yourself. Like you saw me, I have my little book
Yeah,
here.
you had the
So
little
I
book,
want to
yeah.
write it down, not forget, and that's it. It's written in stone.
And we go back to the healthiness of journaling.
Oh
For a lot of
yeah,
people who are in therapy, even if you're
yes.
not in therapy,
Oh man,
write these things down because there's something to say. Once those goals hit the
I
paper,
am
it
huge
manifests,
on
right?
mental health, Jesse. I'm huge on it. I don't know if we want to talk about that real quick,
I
but
mean, yeah, you always listen, share it because I want people to know
yeah.
that you're just not a systems director that woke up and wanted to become a politician.
Oh
I want
no,
people to know that you're multifaceted,
yeah.
you're multi-layered, and you actually have a soul,
Yeah. So
So to the mental
the
health,
mental health. So there was a time where I was getting overwhelmed and just
right?
like all that stuff, the pressure, right? Because when I was in Sinai, remember, so I need to prove myself. I need to
Definitely,
fly with no wings, right?
right.
While others is just like, oh well, we have a good feeling, whatever, right? So I was always against back then therapy, and having a therapist and stuff for its stigma and all that,
Definitely.
right? But
You go
then
to therapy, you're crazy.
yeah, yeah,
That.
automatic, and it sucks because you know that that's not true.
Mhm.
They know that that's not true, but still, it's out there. Uh, so a friend of mine, she goes and said, like, "Dude, just do it once and see what it is." I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll do it once because I always do something once if it's beneficial. And when I
Definitely.
went there, I told the therapist, I was like, "Listen, I'm a psychology major. I got my undergrad in psychology in City College. I everything anything that you're gonna tell me, I already know because there's nothing that anyone has told me that I didn't tell myself. I
Okay.
know the truth.
Very
of
transparent.
myself, right?
Right.
Like
Yes.
whatever I give out, whatever, but you know the truth and you got to deal with that. And I was super harsh on the therapist because I just want to let you know that, set
Yeah.
this aside. And she gave me the biggest mic drop. She's like, okay, no, I totally understand. Okay. Basically asked her like why am I here, which is kind of
Yeah.
weird, right? And she said this answer, which is amazing. You could talk to your mother about something very private and important. You could talk to your friend about something that you can't tell your mom, private and important. Talk to your classmate something. You could talk to your, like family member and
Mm.
whatever. But you can't tell what I tell you to your mom or vice versa.
Right. The web.
But a therapist
You
is
can't.
right in the middle, and that is the one person you could share everything that you share with everyone else to.
That's deep.
And yeah, and
That's
then
deep.
it sank in slowly throughout the session, and I like it's true. The freedom of sharing things to, like, in this case, there's one person. It's weird because it's a feeling of relief, and that's exactly what you want to get
And
out of.
release too.
Yeah, and release exactly. It's like wow, it feels good. Like and I kept it going as long as my insurance paid,
I mean,
but
let's.
it's very very expensive.
I mean, honestly, like I'm very very shocked right now because once again, it's like you sit down with people and you talk to them, and obviously there are people who have their barriers, right? People are gonna naturally have their walls up. You haven't known me for years on top of years.
There's no
We
reason
met
to.
3 years ago, New Year's Eve, and it's just like look at what you're willing to share,
Yeah.
just to show the world, like, hey, like even though I'm dressed like this, I'm human just like you.
Yep.
I was in therapy. I thought I knew it all. The therapist humbled me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I knew it all at work. I got passed up for a promotion. And everything that I'm hearing about these setbacks that you have,
Mm-hmm.
the common theme is after the setback, you
Regroup.
apply, you figure it out,
Yep.
and then boom, next step.
Yep. Because it's not impossible.
It's not.
Very much possible.
It's
I'm
not.
not trying.
So
Yeah.
I know you're running your campaign now. If you want to just share with the audience, what's your political affiliation?
So I'm running as a Democrat. I was a
Okay.
Democrat all my life. I was born and raised, born into the Democratic family.
Okay.
My family was all Democrat. But as we already know, this nowadays is very, political. There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of division, and that's actually what made me want to run for Congress.
There we
I
go.
remember, yeah, right.
There we go.
I remember when it was fine, and I will look at a speech on TV. I have no idea what they're saying, but everything looks good.
Yeah.
Now is you put it on TV. There's some type of corruption. You always have to be on edge because at this point you never know. It could be a bombing down the street. It's
Yup.
sort of like okay, and why is that? I feel it's that the people in Congress are not, they're bickering back and forth, and our safety or our just peace of mind is secondary, and I don't like that, and that affects me directly because I remember this was the tipping point, right? The exact moment when I decided was when somebody asked me where I'm from, and then I had a feeling. I said, where is this going? This
Wow.
feels different. And I told him Puerto Rican Dominican from the Bronx
Mm-hmm.
and all that good stuff. And then he proceeded to basically praise me for leaving such a bad rooted place and look how great you are. He was complimenting me, but at the same time, he was just bashing the Bronx and stuff. And I baited him. I said like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's just got. I want to know. Oh, wow, this is how you feel. This is how everybody feels. Some people. And then I said, who's representing us? Who's representing us that we still have a bad reputation? Like, there's a lot of amazing things that are happening in the Bronx and
Definitely.
Queens. We got the most parks. We got a beach, 2 golf courses. We have everything.
Also the
Bronx
home of
Zoo,
hip hop
Yankees,
music.
home.
You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, right. And then I looked
Let's go
who's
Mets.
representing
Yeah.
us, and the tiny threshold that they won by, like almost like less than like close to 2% of the population of the Bronx and Queens. That's when I said like we need real representation, a real person that I don't have any ambitions to
Homegrown.
homegrown. Yeah,
Homegrown, not a plant who comes
no,
from middle America,
no.
California. I love people in California. But
No,
you know,
yeah,
it's something to say about somebody homegrown.
yeah.
You know these neighborhoods. You know the people. You've walked into these corner stores.
Mm-hmm.
You've ordered food. You sat with these people. You stayed out late with the guys. You
Yeah.
know, you went to the parks. You played the baseball. You played the basketball.
Yeah.
You know, you played the dominoes outside. So it's like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what your neighborhood needs, right? The world doesn't know what the
No,
neighborhood needs.
no,
You
no.
know
We're
what's
just
going to
a,
benefit the community.
we're just another district. There's 435 districts in the U.S.
Yeah.
and we're just another. We just have the title that keeps on being brought up, the poorest district in the country. But like I said, like 30 years ago, we were the poorest district in the country. 30 years later, now we're the poorest district. What has changed besides the politicians and moving up or retiring and stuff like
That
that?
what you're saying is
What has?
it's
Yeah.
so correct. It, like you hit the nail on the head because you know I'm a
Uh-huh.
public school teacher in Brooklyn. I never forget, you know, all of us educators George dropped when our governor,
Huh.
Ms. Kathy Hochul, said there are young
I
African
knew it. I knew you
American
were gonna
kids
bring
in
that.
the
Yep, yep.
Bronx
That's
that don't even know
crazy.
what a computer is.
The memes are hilarious.
I mean, and you know, you seen the one kid like this, he opens the computer, and I'm just like,
But yeah,
that right there is what you're talking about.
how disconnected are like how disconnected was she? It's crazy. Like, are you kidding me? And she specifically said the Bronx too, which is wow. Like
But
seriously.
pay attention to the words that you're using, because not once did you say she's dumb, she's incoherent. You said, look how disconnected she is.
Yeah.
How many of these politicians are disconnected from the neighborhoods? You know, you said the 435 districts. Who's really paying attention?
Mm-hmm.
You know, to think that we're a little piece, you know, out of 435 is wild.
Mm-hmm.
And then for you to turn around and be so disconnected from the neighborhood that you're able to spew certain rhetoric and not really have to deal with consequences, it's like a slap in the face. One, not just to New York, but more importantly to the citizens of the Bronx.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, that's the fuel for you to get up and say,
True.
you're disconnected, you're not educated about where we're from, you're just another plant.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you were really connected as and listen, I'm running as a Democrat, so it's not like
Definitely.
I'm talking bad or anything like that. It's just like again, like you are not focused on actually bringing good and uplifting. In this case, our borough, my district, and stuff. You're not. We're
Definitely.
secondary. There's another agenda in play that you're not sharing, and that's what I'm gonna bring to the people. It's just like like right now, I'm
Yeah.
100% open. You know why? Because there's nothing to hide. Like I'm talking and it feels good, and like kudos to you too for giving me that aura to
Hold
be
on,
more open.
definitely.
You
I'm
know,
just a mirror. I'm only
yeah.
reflecting what I see, you
you know,
know?
and that's the thing, and that's what's missing, and I just want the people to really go out and actually vote and not feel that this is just another one. Or maybe you might feel like, oh yeah, I am connected with him, but he's not gonna make it. Because if everyone thinks like that, then nothing will get done.
But okay, so now I have to show my bias towards you. The advantage that I think you have is one, the accountability speaks volume. Two, the admittance of open struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you were born and they said, here, take 250,000,
Oh
invest it
no.
here. The fact that you said I started off as a security guard
Mm-hmm.
in the same hospital, and when I left that hospital, I went up about 5 to 6 pay scales. Not because you cheated your way, but because you just added
Worked
on
hard.
to the education.
Yep.
You worked hard. You pushed yourself. You got passed over, but you said, you know what? I'm going to use this as intrinsic motivation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get there. I think you have that going for you by itself.
Appreciate it.
Because usually most people,
They get
they
discouraged.
quit, they blame the system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have advantages like this person. I'm not here with this person. Look what they're doing to us.
And the moment you say
Right.
that out loud,
It's over. You lost it.
Someone hurt. Yeah, you already
You
lost the
lost it.
battle within yourself.
Definitely.
And the people that are hearing it on the side is like, oh, damn, it just sucks. You know, they're not gonna help you. Now they're gonna look for someone else. I'm just talking very abstract, very high
Yeah.
level, right? That is like, all right, I'm gonna put my energy in helping this person because this person has the drive within himself. If you already say like, oh, yeah, it's because this, it's because of that, yeah, you really lost at least half the battle in your with yourself. You
And
can't.
losing that battle with yourself is it's very hard to recover
Very,
because then you
very
wake up and you
hard.
think the world owes you something.
Right. Yeah.
You know? But one thing I would say that I've appreciated up to now in the conversation, and it's really just the keep going method.
Yeah.
It's really the push through. It's really of I'm tired of what I'm seeing. I want to make change.
Yep.
I want to advocate for change. I want to push for change.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, if you could just share a
Yeah.
couple with us, what are some things, some policies you have in mind?
All right. Good.
Maybe one or two
All right. Good.
that
You're gonna love this one.
you want to just push for change
You're
within
gonna love
not
this
just
one.
New York but within the district and the Bronx.
So when I first decided to run,
Mhm.
I assessed and I said, okay, let's say you have it. What? How will the Bronx, in this case, because I live in the Bronx, right? It's
Definitely.
Bronx and Queens, would like would be better. Like,
Okay.
and you could start the crimes and this education, healthcare, cost of living, a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
But everything funnels, in my assessment, education, education, and specifically high school. So what started all this was my goal, and I did my research. Oh wow, this Queens has in like the mid 70s graduation rates in high
Right.
school. Bronx has a low to mid 70s. Like, why isn't it not 100%? There is no reason whatsoever. I could give you reasons that are being said, but
Right.
there's no reason whatsoever that we do not have high school graduation rates at 100%. That includes the people that have special education. That
Yeah.
includes the people that needs to like contribute to their family
Yeah.
financially. It includes all of that. So
Oh wait, but that I'm not gonna I'm just to let the audience know.
yeah,
When Felipe mentions the 100%,
that's the goal.
he's not. That's the goal.
That's the
He's
goal.
not saying, "Yo, we're gonna punch that number through the
No.
wall."
I-
He's
thank
saying
you,
that
sir. Thank
why
you.
is it that when you start, you can't finish?
Right.
Obviously there are obstacles. We understand that, but if you've been listening clearly up to now, Felipe's telling you. He's not saying, "Hey, listen, we're all graduating at 18." He's not saying that.
Mm-mm.
He's saying if you got to graduate at 19, you got to graduate at 20. When you start something, finish it.
Get it done.
Get it done. That's where
Yeah.
to clear it up. Because somebody's going to
Yeah.
say,
No.
oh, well, oh, I had a baby. And he's saying, like, no, like, finish.
You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. And actually, it was just yesterday somebody was questioning me. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that sounds too ambitious. That doesn't sound realistic. And that is when it hit me. I'm like, maybe. I mean, that is my message. My goal is 100%, and it's like you said, anything in between is a success, even if it's
Definitely.
1% more than last year. Because then guess what? Then the following year we're gonna do 1% better, and then but
Absolutely.
we need that trend going up, and we need to find a way. And I realized that, and the way to do it, in my opinion, like assess why these students dropped out when they did, and it all came down to money. Yeah, they need to feed their family, they need to produce and all that stuff. So it's all about money. So I'm one of my policies, well, stance and policies that I'm bringing to the table is I want to incentivize high schoolers if they're planning on dropping out, because it's like college, declare your major in junior year. So in high school, if you're planning on dropping out, um, don't, because I'm going to incentivize you with a union job if you graduate. So huge statement I did there. How I'm going to do that? I've already worked with unions because working at Sinai, I worked with many unions, and I asked them before I came up with this platform. I said, "Is it possible for you guys to allocate a union to allocate a certain percentage for a certain group of people, like but high schoolers specifically?" And the answer across the table is yes. So there is a way. So now it's my job in Congress to find that incentive or motivation for the unions to give me that 10%, maybe like a memorandum, understanding between one. So now I have that secure for you for the high schoolers. Now in high school, am I going to change the curriculum and all that stuff? That's going to be difficult because if I want to do that, then I should run in the state level. I should run in the
Right.
local level, right? But in all the principals that I've spoken to, public and private, they say that yes, if we have the resources needed, we could change the curriculum to a certain degree or add or take away or whatever the case is. So now I have two big assets with me, right? I got the union that is agreeing, and I got the schools that are saying yes, we could. So now I'm bringing my knowledge to the high school and say, okay, now for the kids that are going to, that we're planning on dropping out, this is how we're going to prepare them. Let's get them their security license. Let's get them their phlebotomy, certification. Let's get them their torch license, their fire guard. Let's get them the refrigeration license. Things that you don't need um, a degree in, but it's super useful to have in your
You
arsenal.
still need the cert for it.
Exactly, yeah. So
That's
you and then take all the DCAS exam, take the police exam, take the the FDNY, the city service,
sanitation,
sanitation,
everything,
MTA,
civil
all
record.
that
Yep.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that is now your curriculum in high school. And
Yeah.
it's not saying that you have to pass these exams either. Like you
I
don't
was
have
just
to
gonna say
pass,
that too.
but
Yeah.
we want you to take it, attempt, because you're gonna have other things in your pocket. Like the security license. It's an 8 and 16 hour course. That's how I started. That's the perfect example. 8 hour course, then 16. Now you have that certification. Now we could place you into like a third two BJ job or a security officer job. So we're guaranteeing you a job. And then now what would that do? That will increase income, that will decrease unemployment rate, right? That will decrease crime because now these students are now going to try to find a way to get money or be successful because now they have a union job that they need to protect and secure because they don't want to lose that job, right? Because now there's advancements and all these good stuff. So there's a little barriers here and there, but I feel like I have the foundation to something big.
Yeah, it's like you're building an army of little Felipes,
Yeah, right,
because
yeah,
it's strange
yeah.
that all you're saying is bring back vocational jobs and allow these kids to actually work so that they're not on the street.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to your point you said earlier. 30 years, we were the poorest district 30 years ago. What happened in 30 years? And I'll tell you, because I had to do my research before coming to talk to you. I'm 33 years old. I'll be 33 next month, March 15th. 30 years ago, in 1993, there was still the opportunity to go to high school because we have schools like Grady, who you learn construction, automotive, you got a mechanics, Apex, Lincoln Tech,
Yeah.
Transit Tech, which allows you to work on trains. And these were programs in high schools that allowed the gears to shift so that when you graduated, you were good to go.
And
It's like,
exposure.
yeah,
And
it was like
exposure.
Clara Barton, a lot of them had those pre-nursing classes that got them to be medical assistants. And you ask yourself, where did the fortitude and the strength of these programs go in the last 30 years? And you mentioned the allocation of funds. When you went and you spoke to these union delegates, you didn't say, hey, I need me some money. You said, hey, do we have any money to give to these kids to make sure that even if they're thinking about dropping out, we can incentivize them? Is there any money to say, hey, listen, even if you don't like security and you want to quit, you could do phlebotomy. You could be a medical assistant.
Yeah.
You could get this guard. You could become a maintenance worker in DOE schools.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself, because here comes the bias again. I'm a teacher. I told the kids in fourth grade, there is nothing that's not out of your range. You can literally do anything that you apply yourself to, and those words have powers. And for you to say, listen, the crime, whatever, this, whatever, I'm gonna hone in on.
Yes.
Yo, these high school kids, they shouldn't be on the streets. Let's get them in work. I think that in itself, when that message hits the world, people should say, you know what? I've never heard no one speak like this before. Because there's always Washington isn't giving this money. This isn't. You took it upon yourself to go out there and say, hey, listen, y'all got any money for these kids?
Talk here. Is it possible? Is it feasible? Yes. And then did the homework, did the research. Still a lot more work to be done.
Do your research, guys. Definitely.
Oh yeah. It's still a lot more work to be done to really execute and all. But it is possible, and it goes back to like what I was saying. If it's this has not been. It has been done parts and pockets of it, but it's not something far fetched
You
or
got to put the
crazy or anything
machine
like that.
behind it. We
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
put the machine behind it.
yeah.
So outside of that
Education. That
policy
was it.
alone, like you
Yeah,
got
right,
me
right.
there.
Yeah,
Go
that's what
Felipe.
that's what pushed.
So you got the educational side. What's another
Yeah.
policy
But
that you want to
before I go
implement?
to the next one, I
Yeah.
got another good one that is tied to the education.
Okay.
So, what motivated me to start thinking like that too
Yeah.
was at Sinai, people will come to me because I was in a managerial level and then director, like, oh man, my son, he's the best son ever. He's hardworking,
Yeah.
and then this other one is like, oh, I'll learn on the job. You know me, you can trust me. You know my family. Like, yes, yes, you're right. Yes, yes, your son is amazing. Yeah, but what makes your son, what makes you better than the other son that's better? What makes
Yeah.
you the person that would come up to me that, let's say, they were in housekeeping, they're like, oh, I want to be an engineer, you know how hard work I am. I'm like, oh, all right, but what makes you different from the other
How do you
hardworking
stand
house?
out?
How you stand out? So my test to them, and they, I don't know if they see it, they were like,
Yeah.
oh, that's why. I always gave them something like, listen, get your refrigeration license. Listen, get your X, Y, and Z, your fire guard. I gave them tasks, given their capacity and stuff, right? To see if they are ambitious enough to get it.
Right.
And then I will help them. Because if you're not, 100% to yourself, like all in with
You won't be
yourself,
able to give it to no one.
you're not gonna I'm gonna take time out of myself to go all in with you, and I've been very successful. Like, I think one person I never went through all the way,
Yeah.
but that was for
You
other
got
reasons.
started.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So then I said to myself, and one person was really amazing. I interviewed him, and I said, like, hey, if you could get your three certificate of fitness from the FDNY by Friday, like, I will extend an offer to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, that was on a Tuesday. That kid got it that same day, and he called me like, hey, I can only get two out of the three because I can only take two exams. And that right after the interview, he went over it. I told him, be like, don't even worry about it. You got the job. That was amazing. I didn't tell him. I gave him until Friday. So that's the drive that one needs to
The
have.
hunger.
So all that story that I just said, I said to myself, imagine if I apply that in a bigger realm. So I've helped so many people get something, and it's all about how hard you want to work to yourself. And it's been very successful. If I put that plan in a bigger, like in this case, a district, the changes that we could do is huge. But that's how that thought process happened.
Listen, I'm all for people
Yeah,
bettering
yeah, yeah.
themselves with education. This is what the
Yeah, it's
platform,
right. I love it. I
it's
got
what
my
the platform
master's.
is
I have
built
my
on. Yeah.
master's. I got two undergrads. It was good. But all right. So then the next policy that's big with me, uh, it's healthcare, and that's a little bit more personal because this is me being open.
Yeah.
So I had good insurance. I had a very good wage and salary, but my deductible was, like what I have to pay out of pocket first before insurance even kicks in was huge. Unfortunately, I had a little incident where I had to go to the hospital, and and it hurted me because I knew the cost of it, and it it sucked. I have a great job. Why is it that
Still
I'm so
wasn't
scared
enough.
to call the ambulance? So instead of calling the ambulance, I literally, a girlfriend drove me to the hospital and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Because you know what they charge for the
yeah,
ambulance.
yeah, 1,500 minimum. At least the last time I
Sheesh.
checked. Yeah. And then and here's the thing. Why? This is New York City, United States of America. Like, why is it so expensive? So I I am very well connected in the healthcare world. I'm a fellow for the American College of Healthcare Executive. I believe I'm
Nice.
the youngest one. So it's basically an association with all the CEOs, board of trustees, and directors of hospitals, and decision makers. And I same thing what I did with the education. I asked them, I like, what do you think is needed to really reform healthcare?
Like bridge that gap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so now I'm getting real answers from executive level people that runs hospitals, and little by little I'm taking this piece, that piece, and making this big platform because I want to see this healthcare reform but the real way, not just bipartisan
Are
or
we allowed to ask, like, what are some responses you've heard, or is that more like confidential? Because I know
no,
you're in
yeah,
these
yeah,
associations,
yeah,
you're in these groups, and I know you trust the sanctity of
yeah,
certain
yeah.
conversations, but like the people kind of want to know, like,
Yeah, sure,
what's
sure.
like a response that you're hearing when
So
you ask these questions?
so uh I could tell you how what my platform is now
Right.
because it's like
Without giving
different.
too
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I get it. I get it.
So coming from the engineering point of view, and because I was talking to
Yeah.
all different ones, is like infrastructure and the cost, the wasted expense or money,
Yeah,
the
the
wasted
maintenance, the
cost,
overall.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
of a hospital, right? So hospitals, they run until like it literally dropped dead. Literally,
yeah.
it like the the life cycle of a certain machines that's supposed to be 20, 30 years, they're more than double, and that's not right. It passing inspection, it'll pass, like reporting and all that stuff, but it's not right. It's still more cost to it. So investment in infrastructure, that's a big one. Um, when it comes to like Medicare and all that
Mm,
stuff, right? It's it's basically bringing the the service to the people, not
directly.
exactly,
Right.
um, and physically. So a big cost is it's not the actual going to like a clinic or checkup or
It's
whatever.
the machine in
It
itself,
yeah,
the
it,
system of
it
the
is
hospital.
that, and is like people don't do it. So if maybe it's the travel, whatever the case is. So if you have more of like, I don't want to say mobile, but more of access directly the hospital to the people for what you call it, like the checkups, the annual
Yeah,
checkups and stuff like that,
yeah,
preventive maintenance.
yeah.
That's what it right. Then that will lower the cost as well.
Got it. So it's no people actually, me myself, I've never even thought about it like that. So I just gained some new perspective. I didn't think to say, you know what? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
right by Kings County. I tell myself Kings County's always open, but I never thought to myself the maintenance of Kings County,
Oh,
what
huge.
keeps the lights on, how do they keep everything up to date, and
Mm-hmm.
it's different to hear. Wasn't really the response I thought I was gonna hear, but now I'm sitting there thinking to myself, it's kind of like that friend who owns a business, and people go, "Well, how come you can't give me things for free?" And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Well, in order for the business to stay open, I kind of gotta pay for these things. I gotta
Right.
kind of keep,
Right.
the lights on."
And actually, I haven't published it yet, but Brady, let's publish it. My healthcare policy. So
Okay,
very detailed. I'll show you right after this.
yeah,
Garcia2026.com. So bam, right
that's it.
there.
No, it's gonna be
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
bottom.
And it's like
Yeah,
I have everything listed out, and I would say every week or every month, I try to enhance it more with like more ideas and
definitely.
stuff because,
And go on the
yeah,
website, guys, Garcia2026.com. Like, check it out. Like, a lot of the times you see politicians, and we not to call you a politician,
uh,
but we hear politicians talk about, I want to reform this, I want to change this, I want to
what's the
do
plan?
this. Yeah,
Yeah,
what's the plan? Like, we're all adults here. The same way we could spend time on TikTok and Instagram, take some time out and do some research.
yeah,
Look, dig in, learn, where are these people who are asking for our vote? Where are they coming from? What are their policies? What are
yeah.
their goals for the future? What are some new implementations that they have in mind? Now, just the number one, thank you for the insight on the healthcare thing because
Yeah,
I know it's very sensitive. Um, so we got the two policies in education and healthcare, right?
that's right.
So not to water it down, with the political talk, but as we get back in time, right?
The third one is crime and
Oh well, okay. You know what? Get it off.
there's a
Get
top three,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
got.
it's
So we getting the third
safety.
one too.
It's safety.
Definitely, yeah.
It's public safety. So no matter where you are in the country or where you are in the world, like law and order and public safety is important. Now, how it goes about, that's where the focus and the enhancement and the refinement goes into it. But everyone is going to agree that law and order and law enforcement and public safety is essential to society.
Definitely.
Have to, no matter what it is. People try to flip it, and oh no, it's mental. They'll hijack mental health and throw it in there. Oh, it's mental. No, it's public safety, and we need to respect law
We
enforcement,
do need
and
to
we need
respect
to
law
do
enforcement.
all that stuff. Yeah, and so I have a nice little lengthy way to go about. So, for example, like finding funds. So one of my great lines in my webpage is
Yeah.
that I I I owe I don't owe anything to anyone in Congress. I don't owe anything to anyone. So if there's a legislation or a bill that comes by, and you're like, oh no, all Democrats have to vote for it, or yes or no, no. Does it affect my district? So I'm gonna vote according to that.
District first.
That's right. That's right. So, and if it doesn't, then you know what? Put something in there. Do an earmark or something like that. That we get something. Give me $500,000 for like MTA. Give me $500,000 for like the NYPD or something like that. Give me something that affects my district, and I will vote accordingly. But if it doesn't affect my district, it's in the bottom of my priority.
You don't owe
So
anything
I
to
don't.
anyone in
I don't
Congress.
owe. I don't owe anything to you guys. Don't tell me how to vote. I'm voting for my people. My people are. This is not going to benefit. Not. No, thank you. Have a good day. I'm not trying to build a political career. That's another thing I want to say. Right. So I don't care of what the politicians are like. Oh, you're not being a team player. No, because no one was a team player for us. We're still in the bottom. So now it's time to, new sheriff in town.
It's
Now it's
time
time
to
to
be
put the
selfish. I always tell people it's nothing wrong with being selfish about your self-care. You care about the community.
It's
You
not
want everybody to
selfish.
have
Yeah,
it.
it's not selfish. It's priority. Like
I mean,
this needs to be
prioritizing
done.
yourself to me,
The
and
district.
right, well, prioritizing the district, I think you kind of have to be selfish with your district. You kind of
Yeah.
have to show these people that I'm not thinking about nobody else but y'all.
That's it.
But
Yeah.
you guys, not every time you hear the word selfish, it has to have a negative connotation,
Yeah. You're absolutely
But
right.
that's how I look at it now. Like, okay, but yeah, you guys got that going on, but we're here.
Mm-hmm.
You see in this radius, this is what we care about. We care about. It's not that we don't care about all kids,
Yeah.
but we need to shine a light on these kids who've been
Yes.
skipped over time and time again. These
Yes.
kids who've been, victims
Mm-hmm.
of the system, victims of,
Yeah.
bad policing. And I would never jump out the window and say all police officers are bad. But you had such a good point with respecting law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
I'll actually give you a funny story. As a kid, we did a lot of knucklehead stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and precinct that's over here used to come shut down the parties and everything. Fast forward, I go to a wedding. One of my coworkers, love her to death. She goes, Jess, I want you to meet my husband. And, he said, hey, how's it going? And I had my head turned. As soon as I turned my head and I shook his hand, I just felt like the shock. I'm like, where do I know you from?
Uh-oh.
He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you look so familiar. Where do I know you from? And I'm usually good with faces.
Yeah.
He goes, where do you live? I'm like, oh, I live in Flatbush. He goes, what precinct is by you? I'm like, oh, the such and such. He's like, I used to be a, and I said, wait, you're, and he goes, yeah. And I was like, I know you. I've known you my whole life. I said, you know how much party, we're having a joke. So you know how much parties you shut down? You know how much times I see you guys pick us up, throw us, check us, frisk us? And he goes, how you been? And I was just like, when I was small, I was a part of the, F the police campaign. And then when I matured and I got older, I realized how necessary the police was. And I realized how necessary good policing was. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't jump out the window and lie and say that the police, as kids, they would host PAL events in the park.
Mm-hmm.
They would host basketball tournaments. They would make sure we're safe. Now, obviously, as you said, let's not pay attention to so many things at once because we can only tackle one thing at a time. But the right kind of policing, the right kind of funding, making sure everyone is educated,
Yeah.
And it was so strange because we all ended up going to a country concert together. And I sat there and I laughed to myself and I go, never in a million years
As well.
would I ever thought. And that goes to the point you were saying about figuring things out. because I could live on a bias like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of other people. But
That's
you know
easy.
what?
That's easy.
It
That's a
is.
path of least resistance.
Yeah, but you kind of want more. And I think one of the things that I'm realizing your campaign is built on is just figuring it out. You know, I don't know if you have figuring it out on Garcia2026.com, but it's literally like figuring it out. You know, you could explain your campaign to a child, and a child would understand this.
Yeah.
You know, because it's so simple. It's kind of like direct to consumer.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is how we're gonna fix the problem.
And
I just need a little bit of help.
I'm gonna be your inside man
You're the
and get the
inside guy.
real answers. That's he watches.
Honestly, I've never heard a politician lead with high school in healthcare.
Yeah.
That to me is like refreshing in
Mm-hmm.
itself, because it's like sometimes, we feel forgotten about. So one of the points that I kind of wanted to hone on to is, we know who you are as the engineer. You're hardworking, dedicated. We know who you are as the campaign person. You're pushing to make change in the district. Who is Felipe, the son, the brother, the friend? What's that guy like?
I think he's cool.
Okay. Yeah.
My brother might think that I'm a hard person,
To deal with, right?
Yeah, but he's actually the last person that I kind of switched from transport to engineering, and he worked in Sinai for 6 years, and he's always saying, "Oh, Felipe, come on, your brother." Like, no, I'm not gonna help you get into engineering just because you're my brother. Like, I don't want people to think that. So he got his refrigeration license. He paid his $2,000, $3,000, whatever the course was, and then I helped, and that was hard. So I'm very tough on my family and my cousins. So my mom is one of 16, and my grandmother is one of 20. That's just the Dominican side. So I have like 35 first cousins.
Jeez
And
Louise.
I'm like the second or third oldest out of all of them.
So you're like an uncle.
Yeah.
You're like an elder. No, listen, that's
probably, yeah. But I like that they listen, even though some of them, I know that they think they're telling me that they're not listening, but they are, because
definitely.
I'm telling the raw truth. So who am I as a family guy, and I'm the son? I'm honest, straightforward. Uh,
No nonsense.
no nonsense.
Right.
I definitely will call out my dad whenever he says something like, "Poppy, no, that is 100% wrong." Well, and as you get older, we are now transforming into the parents,
Yeah,
right?
definitely,
right?
yeah.
And then my dad, will stick his ground, but no, okay, you sweat, papa, like, okay, I already said my part, and then I let it go because I know that my dad is going to take that in.
Absolutely.
And many times he'll tell my mom, Felipe tenía razón, Felipe, he was right, and we're like, I know. I'm not saying it to get anything. I want us to be better, right? So straightforward, and just, again, like, my brand is my brand, and they know that if they want tough love and the truth, with my opinion, the right guidance that I see is the right way to go to get to wherever they want to get to, then yeah, they come to me and they ask me for advice, help, and I learn from them too, because things have changed. Like, now social media is super focused, right?
Super.
I didn't have an Instagram until like maybe like 2 years ago because of the politics, but you know I rely on them the same way how they rely on us. And one more important thing too, it's so important to like keep that continuity going. So for example,
definitely.
Since we have 35 cousins, first cousins, right? Well, our grandmother, right, she's getting older, and we came up with the idea, like, I think everybody should have at least 1 week, like timeshare, to go visit the grandmother on a Friday, stuff like so that. And then that's hard to coordinate and stuff, but at least the thought and the idea is there, to keep that family going.
Together.
It's my only grandmother alive right now, so, and I'm so busy, and I don't want to use that as an excuse. So that's pressure too. I remember my parents one time said, "Oh, Felipe, I used to see you more when you lived in Yonkers,
Yeah.
and now I live closer." And I said, "I'm sorry. it's hard.
Well, you have purpose
But
and passion, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah,
anytime you have purpose and passion, you will be occupied by these passions a lot
yeah.
because the goal is actually bigger than you.
Yep.
You know, the
Yep.
goal is way, I think it was Martin Luther King says, it could have been him, a man that planted a seed but doesn't get to enjoy the shade of the tree is a very special man. Because
Yeah, that sounds
look
like
at
Martin
it
Luther
that way.
King.
Like you won't be around to see the benefits, but you put something into action.
And you know what?
You
And I'm
lit the
fine with
fire.
that. And I'm
Yeah,
fine with that
definitely.
because as long as I know that that seed is being watered by
Definitely.
others, I planted it. I wanted to grow for everyone else to enjoy it. And
But you're also gonna say, make sure y'all water that damn plant.
better.
Make sure you water that damn plant. Don't slack, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, it better.
I think overall, if you're watching this right now and you're tuned into this, you're just hearing another one of us
Yeah,
in the chair to my left. And I think that counts for something. So with this being the Just Takes a Village podcast, we always tend to hone in on the members of your village that said, Felipe, we're not gonna let you quit. We got your back. Who are some of the people that actually those days when you were overwhelmed, it was like, we're not gonna let you fall? Who
yeah,
are some of these
definitely
people?
my mother.
Everybody always
She's
starts with mom.
it's
Yeah,
it's
good.
true. Especially I mean, everybody's mom is the best mom, but
Yeah,
my
definitely.
my mom,
It's the best mom.
she's like
Shout out mommy.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's like a saint, man. I swear, like she's both my parents. They don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't go
Yeah.
out. They're always together.
Old school.
Yeah, people talk about them. We're like, oh, but they don't go out to a restaurant. No, they're happy together, just being there,
In their bubble.
and that's strength to me. And I'm down, mine will come to me, and say things that I already know, but still, but just hearing it in that tone is comforting. Um, so it'll be my mom, and like right now, my partner, my girlfriend Solange, she, you know, when I'm down, she comes and just asks questions, and you're like,
Shout
oh,
out to
why? And
Lanji,
stuff, yeah.
my cousin. Yeah.
And like sometimes I might look at it as like, "Ah, I just need my moment and so that," but deep down it is, it's softening the blow that's heavy, or lifting up the boulder on me and stuff. So it's a good question because I never thought about it, but it's just could be anyone. Like even right now, like I thank you. It's just
I
making me
appreciate that.
relive these things and just makes me feel better. So just it takes a village.
Yeah,
Like just
literally.
little bit of everyone, and
So
you just feel great.
we got family,
Hmm.
we got partner. Is there anyone else?
Currently or in the past?
Anywhere, because at any given moment in your
Yeah,
timeline, these
yeah,
people
yeah,
were
yeah,
there for you.
yeah,
I mean, obviously, shout out the campaign team
yeah.
for
No,
Garcia
yeah,
2026,
yeah, well, yeah. The campaign. I got to bring that up, Brady. He's
right?
been, yeah.
Shout out Brady.
There's
Yeah.
just the people that actually, yeah, Brady, I'm going to talk about you. When I approach my campaign manager right now,
Yeah.
I told him, "Hey, I want to do this. I want to run against this person." It was like, "Oh, you're crazy," but then they come back and say, "You know what? I believe in him," and that is uplifting. Because imagine if everyone says, "No, no, you're crazy. You can't do this." I'm still going to go full speed ahead, but
Definitely.
now it's a little bit more
Support
refreshing. Like, wow, thank you, and I pass on a thank you to
the
my team
village.
and yeah, that's helping me sail this boat to the right direction. So my team and my teachers, actually, because I could literally name from like kindergarten all the way to eighth grade all my teachers, and some people find that weird, and
Nah,
I
you always
said,
remember the impactful ones.
yeah, yeah, and I said, and they were all impactful. I could literally name them all, and it goes back to what we were talking about before we started. Like it's like everything had to happen, exactly how it happened
For you
for
to
you to
be here,
be exactly where
exactly
you
where
are
you
right now.
are.
So I'm
Definitely.
thankful, and I look back and I hope I could reach out to them, some of them, and say thank you. And hopefully
How
they look
blessed
at
are
me on
you?
TV and
Yeah.
say like, "Wow, Felipe,
How
that's
blessed are you to have a strong village? When I had started off the interview, I used words like engineer man, family man, you know, very multi-level, multifaceted. And then the first word we started off with was integrity. And here we are at the ending of the interview, seeing the integrity in a full circle moment.
Yeah,
You have to be proud of yourself no matter what, and no matter where you are in life. That
Mm-hmm.
same integrity in building that brand from a security officer
Mm-hmm.
in Mount Sinai to running for a congressional seat against you know who, but that person, that name doesn't hold weight in this house. You guys will see that soon. But you've come so far. My last question to you, these goals that you have written in that little blue book, what's that feeling like when you check one off the list?
Oh, it's amazing. You know, it's like giving myself a medal or a trophy. Like, all right, here you go, you graduated. It's like graduation. Those who already graduated, right? It's that feeling of that completion. It's that feeling of passing on. We're like, all right, now you could do it because I did it, and just passing the torch, knowledge filled. It's a lot of just it's good. Just I'm thinking about how I felt.
Yeah,
You, these are the things that you don't think about. So appreciate the question because one will take that for granted. We're like, oh, I got to do this or call Brett. You're like, check, right? But no, like you did it. You said you're gonna do it. You did it. On to the next one, and you keep on doing that, and you'll never fail. I don't think you will ever fail. Um, and to add to that, I have this other line. I think it's pretty cool that you always want to like right there, like
yeah,
it takes a little effort to just touch that right there, and,
absolutely.
and if and if good comes out of it, then go make the little effort to touch it. I'm not trying to touch that wall over there, but little by little, okay, good. Now it's right there, okay, good. Little by little, you will get there. So start right here, whatever's in arm's
Evan's arm
reach,
reach, close
and
proximity.
exactly,
The
and then
small goals for the bigger goals.
eventually you will get there. It'll be nuts if someone would tell me future Felipe will go back to the past. They're like,
Right?
you're gonna run for Congress. I'm like, you okay. It's crazy. We look at those people as like born into that and stuff, but no, things change and things change for the better.
Hence the intro, because I always tell people, welcome to the Just Takes a Village podcast, where we focus on regular people who have
Mm-hmm.
used their education, whether formal, vocational, or life experiences. And look at you, formal, vocational, and life
Yeah.
experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, Felipe Garcia, Garcia2026.com. Anything you
Peace.
want to say to the people?
No, I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see the comments. Please be raw, be truthful, and those comments and that reaction, those views is gonna make me better. Like, all right, I gotta fix that. I gotta do this. So I can't wait to see it. And thank you, thank you.
Definitely.
I'm so
So,
happy that you're
yeah,
part of the family.
definitely, definitely. So Felipe is telling you guys, hold him to the same standard
Yeah,
that he holds others to. Accountability, ladies and gentlemen, and it's just like that. Thank you so much, man.
you're the
Bo
man.
Garcia 2026, y'all.